what I want you to answer is, why do you practice QDM? Why do you do this?
They say we all have a story. If this is true, what's yours? Have you ever thought to yourself why you do all this? Why do you practice this philosophy called QDM? What would your answer be? What is it about this practice of sound wildlife management that grabs us and doesn't seem to let go? Why do we put ourselves through this? We buy equipment that we can't afford, and when we want to use it, something is either broken or, better yet, how many bloody knuckles do we have to go through trying to hook up a simple PTO shaft before we say, enough is enough? Then we have these things called expectations that we set on ourselves that are usually out of reach due to our financial situation. Bills are often left piling up during planting season, just so we can finally plant that expensive magic bean we heard so much about. Then there is something that is much more important than our financial status will ever be, and that is time. Thoughts of managing our land is what gets us through our rough work week, and then, finally, the weekend comes. And just when you thought you were going to go plow, your spouse has other plans that are not so silly sounding. Time is a tough one to deal with, because every time we choose to do something, we are saying no to something else. Too many of our children's sports events have been missed due to QDM. And you'll never forget that look in your child's eye when they come home and your wife tells you that you missed his game-winning goal. So what is it about QDM? QDM is a lot of things, and as of late has a lot of different meanings behind it. But one thing that is for certain, QDM gets to you and makes you strive to be the best, not for self-gain, but for the species at hand. No matter what your financial status is, you find out that failure is not a word in your vocabulary. That is the beauty of QDM. Rich or poor, we all have this common bond to improve the whitetail's life and where it lives to the best of our ability. No matter how many hardships we may come across while practicing QDM, along the way we might actually find something that we may have lost, and that is ourselves. What are some other things that we may find? You might find that hidden green thumb that was tucked away from when you were a child growing up on a farm. You might also find out, when you actually open your eyes to your surroundings, you'll be amazed at what you see. You might even find your family again through spending time together, managing at the farm, or, better yet, you might find God while sitting in the tree stand, enjoying what He has created for you and me. The thing about practicing this philosophy is the things you may get to do. Who doesn't love running a chainsaw on a cool fall or winter's day? Who doesn't love getting their fingers dirty, knowing that you planted life? Who doesn't love getting some one-on-one time on a tractor, thinking about life and where it's heading? Some of the best decisions you'll ever make will be the ones decided from the seat of a tractor. I know a group of people who love and enjoy doing these things mentioned. They wear a label proudly, and they call themselves QDMers. But the question still stands, why do they do this?
Why do I practice QDM? Because it totally makes sense for the health of the deer herd.
I practice for my kids.
I do it for the quality.
I do it for the hunt.
I do it for the fun.
I do it because we're commanded to be good stewards of what God has entrusted for each of us.
It's for my kids.
I do it because I want to leave the land a little better for the next generation.
Why do I practice QDM? I do it because I want to be a mentor to the next generation of land stewards. Because if we want this resource to be there in 25 years or in 50 years, then we need to practice QDM in our own backyards.
I do it to improve the property for the deer that call it home, and also to ensure that my children enjoy the family farm as much as I have.
My name is Matt, and I practice quality deer management because it's the right thing to do. Right, Josie?
My name is Darren Boudreau. Why do I like managing wildlife? Because I love spending time in the great outdoors.
For the conservation of the white-tailed deer.
I was told the other day by a gentleman that the best story never told is the act of conservation. Unfortunately, that's a pretty true statement. You know, for quality deer management to be the future deer hunting like we all want it to be, we need to show that we can lead. We need to show that people can turn to us for all wildlife management needs, not just for deer. But how do we get there? Well, we get there with character. We get there with good sounding principles that make up QDM. But mostly, we come out of the shadows and start sharing our stories. That is how we lead. We need to share the good things that make up QDM, but also the bad that comes with QDM. It's called honesty. That is how you lead. But first things first, everybody needs to look themselves in the mirror and ask the question, why do you do this? Why do you do this? But don't be afraid or ashamed of your answer. Just share your story. With all that being said, as my grandpa always used to say, no hurry, no worry. Keep moving. All right, Dennis, one more time. Why do you practice QDM? Why do you practice management in general?
Well, Eric, if we don't, who will?